Chapter 193. Days passed by. On the 7th day, noon. The door of the training room was opened, and Yuchen walked out. I can't stay in the training room for too long. As time goes on, the earth Shaozhen fire will make me anxious. If I continue to train like this, I might lose my mind and end up with unpredictable consequences. Alright, I will take a break for a while and train the Flow Rudra 3 spell and the Void Shattering Finger art. For Yuchen, the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell was very important. Only by increasing his speed would he have the chance to escape from danger in the future. Let's go eat something first. Letting out a breath of hot air, Yuchen pushed open the door and walked out of the yard. Although clasping Yuan Realm warriors could go for a long time without eating or drinking, but once they stopped training, they would still be very hungry. Yuchen was no exception. Young warrior, this is a note from your friend. Outside the yard, the waiter who had served Yuchen and Murong Qingcheng saw Yuchen and hurried over, handing him a note. Yuchen took the note and opened it. Brother Yi, I still have something to do. I will go back to the Sky Demon Martial School now. Be careful, we will meet again in the future. Murong Qingcheng. Closing the note, Yuchen asked, when did she leave? 4 days ago. Thank you, this is your reward. Taking out 10 low-rank soul stones from his storage ring, Yuchen threw them to the waiter. The waiter took the low-rank soul stones and thought to himself, so generous. 10 low-rank soul stones at once, it is enough for me to train for a month. In a restaurant nearby, Yuchen sat on the second floor near the window. Yuan Zongbu's power is not to be underestimated. Before I leave the city, I have to reach the peak of early clasping Yuan realm, and I have to train the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell to the first realm as well. Adding my ace attack, the one sword attack, I should be able to fight against him for a while. Unfortunately, the third movement of the Void Shattering Finger art is extremely hard to train. If I could learn 10 to 20% of it, I would have a higher chance of winning. According to Yuchen's estimation, the Void Shattering Finger art should be a Heaven Realm finger art, and it was not a low-rank one at that. Judging from the fact that the stone pillar-like finger could shatter a life and death realm beast with a single finger attack, Yuchen could tell that. Soon, all the dishes were served, as well as a pot of wine. Yuchen couldn't care less about being polite and started wolfing down the food. Did you guys know that yesterday, an astral reaching realm martial artist died in the heavy mysterious mountain? A few clasping Yuan realm martial artists were sitting together on the third table next to them, talking to each other. What? An astral reaching realm warrior is dead. Who killed him? It was the mountain-shaking old man, Diao Kuei. The one who died was not a nobody either. His nickname was Evil Blade, and he had reached the peak of early astral reaching realm. Evil Blade, it was him. Decades ago, he had killed the whole family of the mountain-shaking old man's disciple. The mountain-shaking old man had always hated him. I did not expect him to catch him this time. Oh right, how many attacks did they use? Although the mountain-shaking old man was a mid-astral reaching realm warrior, Evil Blade was also very powerful. I heard that he could take on normal mid-astral reaching realm warriors. 3 attacks. The mountain-shaking old man killed Evil Blade with only 3 attacks. That's impossible. Did Evil Blade not have enough time to burn his Jin Yuan? If he did not burn his Jin Yuan, Evil Blade would only be able to take 1 attack at most. Back then, the mountain-shaking old man had gone all out. He did not even say anything before burning his Jin Yuan, not giving Evil Blade any chance to escape. It's good that he died. Evil Blade had killed countless people, so he would not be able to escape after all. Hearing their conversation, Yuchen thought to himself, the mountain-shaking old man looks like a nice person, and he even teased me in front of Murong Qingcheng. But when he is angry, he is quite fierce. He killed a peak-level early astral reaching realm warrior with 3 attacks. I am afraid that even Thunder Freer would not be able to take 3 attacks from him. After lunch, Yuchen walked out onto the street. As he walked, he stopped. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, he thought to himself. Hee, it seems like you have not reached the peak level early clasping Yuan realm yet. Plus, your friend has left you as well. Yuan Zongbua looked at Yu Chen with an evil intention. Yu Chen said lightly, right now is the best chance to kill me. Unfortunately, it is not in your hands. There is no use trying to provoke me. I am not stupid. Even astral reaching realm warriors do not dare to kill people in the martial city. I would not dare to either. Unfortunately, you cannot stay in the martial city forever. Then you wait for me. Maybe I will stay in the martial city for 3 to 5 years. Yu Chen sneered as he walked past Yuan Zongbua. Yuan Zongbua's face darkened. If he really wanted to stay in the martial city for 3 to 5 years, he would not be able to do anything about it. Damn! Don't fall into my hands. Otherwise, I will make you beg for death. Back in the yard, Yu Chen rested for a while and started to learn the Flow Rudra 3 spell. Another 7 days passed. On the small training field. Separate. Yu Chen groaned with a low voice. 2 extremely real Zhen Qi shadows appeared from Yu Chen's body. The Zhen Qi shadows started to fly, and within a blink of an eye, they had already run 1 round around the training field. Then, they suddenly appeared in front of the metal training column and threw a punch on it. Boom! Boom! 2 fist marks appeared on the training column. Soon. After a while, the Flow Rudra 3 spell should be able to reach the first realm. By then, the separating shadow flying art would be at the middle rank Earth realm. Right now, the separating shadow flying art had already surpassed the original effect. It was not any weaker than the top low rank Earth realm flying art, and was only 1 step away from the middle rank Earth realm. The Zhen Qi shadows merged into his body. Yu Chen stood still and closed his eyes. After a long while, he opened his eyes, and an extremely horrifying qi spread out. He reached out his right index finger and pointed at the training column. Pooh! A deep finger mark appeared in the middle of the training column, and the fingerprint could be seen clearly. Seeing that, Yu Chen shook his head, still not good. Not even 1/10 of it. The third movement of the void-shattering finger is too hard. It seems like my cultivation is indeed too low. Wanting to learn a heaven realm finger art is not something that can be done in a short period of time. Let's not waste any more time. During this period of time, besides training the Flow Rudra 3 spell, Yu Chen was also training the void-shattering finger art. He wanted to see if he could make a breakthrough. It seemed like the rank of the void-shattering finger art was too high, and it would be unwise to waste his time on it. Time flew by like water. On this day, Yu Chen moved extremely fast on the small training field. On his way, his body slightly shook, and 2 Zhen Qi shadows shot out towards the training column at an unbelievable speed. Break! The real body and Zhen Qi shadows threw out a punch at the same time, violently hitting the training column. Boom boom boom. 3 muffled sounds were heard almost at the same time. Back out! With 1 punch thrown out, the 3 shadows mixed together and backed out in a dazzling way. It was impossible to tell which was the real body and which was the Zhen Qi shadows. Compared to before, the speed and effect were not the same at all. Taking back the Zhen Qi shadows, a smile appeared on Yu Chen's face. The Flow Rudra 3 spell has finally reached the first realm. Right now, my separating shadow flying art is more than 50% stronger than before. I can already cooperate with the Zhen Qi shadows to attack the enemies together. Seriously speaking, the Zhen Qi shadows created by the separating shadow flying art were mainly used to confuse the enemies, and did not have much power. However, after reaching the mid-rank Earth realm, the Zhen Qi shadows' power had increased drastically. When encountering a powerful opponent, the Zhen Qi shadows would be able to block the opponent for a second, and that second would be more than enough. The Earth Fiend Zhen fire inside my body has almost dissipated. I should try to break into the peak-level early clasping Yuan realm this time. Reaching the peak-level early clasping Yuan realm from the early clasping Yuan realm required a lot of accumulation. If there were pellets or treasures that could increase Shen Qi, it could be done within a couple of days. Unfortunately, these kinds of pellets and treasures were not something that normal people could get. Only those rank 7 martial institutions or super martial institutions had the resources to train their genius disciples. For example, Murong Qingcheng had improved her cultivation from the mid-clasping Yuan realm to the peak-level mid-clasping Yuan realm with a fire dragon fruit. According to her, the other top-ranked hidden dragon rank warriors had done the same. There was no time to be jealous of those genius disciples from the rank 7 martial institutions or super martial institutions. Right now, Yichen could only focus on training step by step. What? That brat went inside to train again? Inside the private room of the restaurant, Yuan Zongbua was extremely furious. The teenager who came to inform Yichen said, "Yes, I used the low-rank soul stones you gave me to bribe a few waiters. They did not see him come out. Keep watching. I don't believe that he can really stay in the martial city for 3 to 5 years." Yuan Zongbua was now really worried that Yichen would not leave the martial city. It was not like this had never happened before. A lot of people had stayed in the martial city for 10 or even 20 years in order to avoid their enemies. They did not dare to leave the martial city until their enemies were killed by someone else. This time, Yichen stayed in the training room for half a month without coming out. He did not drink a single drop of water for half a month. He had put all of his focus into training. He had used hundreds of low-rank soul stones and dozens of spirit, qi, and mental pellets. If it was a normal early clasping Yuan realm warrior who did this, there would be a huge chance that he would lose his mind. However, Yichen's soul power was extremely powerful, which allowed him to extend the time by more than 2 times. Otherwise, he would not have been so reckless. Outside the yard, different waiters would come and watch during their break time, which made the waiter who had received a tip from Yichen feel suspicious. He had lived in the martial city for so many years, and had seen everything. If he was not mistaken, there should be someone who wanted to kill Yichen. Under the watch of those waiters, Yichen finally came out again. The fire qi of the earth fiend Zhen fire is so amazing. After training for so long, my meridians are still fine. But, it should also have the effect of the qi replenishing pellet and the soul replenishing pellet. Normally, warriors would stop after training for a couple of hours at most, because their meridians could not handle the constant flow of Zhen qi, which could easily cause damage to their meridians. However, in the training room, Yichen would only stop for a couple of hours after training for half a day. He would close his eyes and rest. After a couple of hours, his meridians would return to normal and he would continue training. Letting out a long breath, Yichen opened the door and mumbled to himself, "I have reached the peak level early clasping Yuan realm. I will not be able to make another breakthrough in a short period of time." Bang bang bang, someone knocked on the door from outside the yard. Yichen pulled with his right hand, and the door bolt was pulled open. He said, "Come in." Crack. The door opened, and it was the waiter who had served him before. "What is it?" Yichen asked. "You should not leave the martial city for now. Someone has their eyes on you, and they have arranged a lot of waiters to watch over you." Yichen smiled lightly, "I know, thanks." Yuan Zongbua had sent people to watch over him, and he had already known about it. Now that his cultivation and flying art had both improved, he did not have to be afraid of him anymore. "You know, it seems like I have been worrying too much." The waiter laughed. Yichen said, "You go first, don't get yourself into trouble." "Yeah." The waiter was taking a huge risk by coming here. Although he would not leave the martial city in a couple of years, some things were unpredictable. The next morning, Yichen closed the door and was about to leave the training room. Chapter 194. You have trained in the training room for 35 days. Excluding the 3 days that you paid before, you still need to pay for 32 days worth of soul stones. That's 32,000 low-rank soul stones in total. The lady said with a smile. Yuchen paid the soul stones, and before he left, he glanced at the waiter who had a weird expression on his face. Walking on the street, Yuchen thought to himself, if nothing goes wrong, Yuan Zhongbua will soon know that I have left the martial city, and he will definitely come after me. Instead of fighting back or running away, I might as well make the first move and teach him a lesson. After making up his mind, Yuchen increased his speed and flew towards the city gate. Sir, the kid you asked us to watch is running towards the city gate. The door of the restaurant was opened, and the young man rushed in. Crack. The teacup was shattered as Yuan Zhongbua stood up and laughed. Kid, let's see where you can run this time. Today, the heavy mystery mountain will be your burial ground. Yuan Zhongbua was not afraid of Yuchen running away at all. The gravity in the center of the heavy mystery mountain was 10 times stronger than the outside world. The lower the cultivation, the greater the pressure. He and Yuchen were 2 realms apart. No matter how you looked at it, he was way more powerful than Yuchen. Seeing that Yuan Zhongbua was about to leave, the young man said, Sir, what about the other half of the soul stones you promised me? Let's talk about it when I come back. I will give you double. As the voice came, the young man had already disappeared. Getting out of the city gate, Yuchen's body flashed and landed on the thigh-thick chain. Zhen Qi exploded from his feet, and he jumped out like he was on a skateboard. Coming. On his way, Yuchen's soul power sensed Yuan Zhongbua's aura. The latter was running towards him, and soon, he had reached the city gate. The moment Yuan Zhongbua got out of the city gate, he saw Yuchen who was almost at the other side of the abyss. He laughed and jumped up into the sky like a rock spreading its wings. Within a second, he landed on the chain. His legs started to move back and forth at an extremely fast speed, increasing his speed. Shoo! Soon, Yuan Zhongbua arrived at the top of the mountain along the chain. Looking down, a few miles away, a human shadow was running crazily, looking back from time to time, looking a bit impatient. Can you escape? His clothes started to flutter even though there was no wind. Yuan Zhongbua jumped into the air, and his Zhenqi started to pour out, forming a 3 meters long blood-red Zhenqi eagle outside his body. The eagle flapped its wings, and with a shoo sound, it dived down, drawing a beautiful blood-colored arc in the air. The 2 of them moved as fast as lightning, one chasing and the other escaping. Blood Eagle Art. That is not Yuan Zhongbua. Who is he chasing? Yuan Zhongbua is an experienced late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Judging from the Zhenqi vibration of that guy in front of us, he has not reached the mid-clasping Yuan realm yet. He should be at the peak level early-clasping Yuan realm. The Blood Eagle Sword Yuan Zhongbua is ruthless. This guy is going to suffer. What does it have to do with us? Countless warriors die in the heavy mysterious mountains every day. Not long ago, even an astral-reaching realm warrior died. The heavy mystery mountain range was not very big, and there were many martial artists coming and going. The chase and escape between the 2 alarmed many martial artists, causing them to talk about it. Kid, let's see where you can run to. Wrapped by the Zhenqi eagle, Yuan Zhongbua took out his great sword and threw out a sword attack. Shoo! The blood-red sword chi stretched out in the air, slicing through the air. Wherever it went, the mountain rocks were cut in half, and the trees fell down one after another. Within a second, it had caught up with Yuchen. Boom! A small hill in front of them had been blown open. It was like Yuchen had grown eyes on the back of his head. He suddenly changed his route and flew towards a remote road. Hee, the more remote the better. This way, there will not be any accidents. The Zhenqi eagle flapped its wings and carried Yuan Zhongbua, chasing after Yuchen. Gradually, no one could be seen around them anymore. The ground was covered with weeds, which were huge and tall, with the thickness of an arm. Obviously, the gravity of the heavy mysterious mountains had strengthened the plants that survived in there, making them much tougher than the plants in the outside world. 300 meters. 200 meters. 100 meters. Yuan Zongbua laughed out loud. Little brat, I advise you not to run anymore. If you want to blame something, blame yourself for thinking that you could escape from me. In front of him, Yu Chen's cold voice was heard. It is hard to tell who will laugh in the end. Stubborn duck. Let's see how you will laugh later. Yuan Zongbua hated Yu Chen's tone. Until now, Yu Chen was still terrifyingly calm, as if nothing could affect him. On the contrary, Yuan Zongbua seemed to be irritated, as if he could not wait to kill Yu Chen and destroy his confidence. Both of them were flying at a low altitude, only tens of meters away from the ground. Suddenly Yu Chen's body landed on the ground, and he started to run on the ground. Yuan Zongbua was dazed for a second, and then he laughed out proudly. The gravity of the heavy mysterious mountains is extremely strong. The Jin Qi will be consumed 10 times faster than the outside world. God is on my side. Let's see how you are going to escape. Eagle punch. As the punch was thrown out, an eagle's cry was heard. The grass in front of him had been smashed into pieces under the pressure of the punch. The ground sank a couple of meters deep, and a huge fist mark appeared. He dodged it. Yuan Zongbua thought that his punch would be enough to wound Yu Chen, but he did not expect that Yu Chen's speed would suddenly increase, allowing him to dodge the punch. Oh well, it has been a while since I played the game of cat and mouse. Right then, he felt that killing Yu Chen all of a sudden would be pointless. After all, he had been pissed off for a month, and he needed to vent it out. However, before he could be happy for long, the hairs on his body suddenly stood up. Danger. After going through so many bloody battles, Yuan Zongbua instinctively felt a sense of danger. He subconsciously increased the strength of his Jinqi layer. The blood-red Jinqi eagle around his body had been compressed to half of its original size, and its thickness had also doubled. All of this happened within a blink of an eye. In the next second, a beam of sword qi shot out from under the ground, hitting Yuan Zongbua's body within a second. Brat, you will die a horrible death. Blood puked out of his mouth. Although Yuan Zongbua had sensed the danger, he did not know where the danger was coming from. What was worse was that underneath his Jin Qi layer was the weakest, and it was immediately torn open by the sword Qi, causing him to suffer quite a serious internal injury. The ground cracked open, and Yi Chen's body shot out. Jin Qi shadow. Yuan Zongbua's pupils shrank. He was not stupid, and it did not take him long to figure out how Yi Chen managed to get under the ground. It turned out that the second Yi Chen landed on the ground, he had performed his separating shadow flying art and left a Jin Qi shadow on the ground to attract Yuan Zongbua's attention. His real body had already gone under the ground, and with his soul power, he had easily tracked Yuan Zongbua's location. Yi Chen did not plan to let his opponent rest. He waved out his sword, and a light blue giant sword Qi shot up, twisting the air and forming a tornado, attacking towards his opponent. Small tricks. Now I will let you know that even if I am wounded, I can still kill you easily. Blood Eagle 3 sword attacks. Yuan Zongbua sneered and threw out 3 sword attacks in a row. 3 beams of sword Qi, 2 from the top and 1 from the bottom. The top 2 were like the eagle's wings, and the bottom one was like the eagle's sharp claws. They flew towards the tornado, and all of a sudden, the tornado was cut into 3 pieces, turning into air and pure Yuan Qi, scattering everywhere. The old late-clasping Yuan realm warriors are indeed not to be underestimated. With the Star Scar sword in his hand, Yi Chen's body flashed, jumping towards Yuan Zongbua. Die! Yuan Zongbua laughed viciously, as that blood-red Jin Qi eagle flew out of his body. Swoosh! The Jin Qi shadow had been torn apart, and Yi Chen's real body was less than 10 meters away from Yuan Zongbua. 1 sword attack. His body suddenly stood up. Yu Qin held his sword with both of his hands, and threw out a sword attack from above. Shoo! The light blue sword chi flashed once before disappearing, leaving a light blue line in the air, stretching straight towards Yuan Zongbua. What? So fast! It was not the first time Yuan Zongbua had seen such a fast sword chi, but it was the first time he had seen it from a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm warrior. Right then, it was obviously too late for him to avoid it. He yelled, held his sword with both of his hands, and threw out a sword attack. Boom! The sword chi and the great sword clashed, and a horrifying shockwave exploded. A 7 meters deep hole appeared on the ground, and on the edge of the hole, there were spider web-like sword marks spreading out, cutting all the plants. Yuan Zongbua's body had been blown away by the shockwave, and his face had turned even paler. Together with his scrawny face, he looked like wrinkled white wax, which made him look horrifying. Brat, very good. I have underestimated you. But no matter how powerful you are, you will not be able to escape death. He was indeed shocked. Although he had been wounded by the sword chi before, his attacking power had not decreased by much. It was at least 80%. With 80% of his power, normal late-clasping Yuan realm warriors would not be able to compete with him. Killing a peak-level early-clasping Yuan realm brat would be a piece of cake. But right now, he understood that Yu Qin was the kind of martial genius who could challenge those with higher cultivation than him. Boom! Yuan Zongbua stomped on the ground and cracked it open. He stared at Yu Qin as if he was looking at a dead man. He held his great sword with both of his hands and stabbed it into the ground. He yelled with a low voice, "One sword sky." Danger! It had always been Yu Qin sneakily attacking his opponents, and he had never been sneakily attacked before. As Yuan Zongbua stabbed his sword into the ground, he could feel that there was a huge amount of sword chi brewing under the ground. Once it exploded, it would be more than enough to cut him into pieces. His body flashed again and again. Yu Qin had suddenly created 3 Jin Chi shadows. All of a sudden, the ground suddenly cracked open. Countless waist-thick blood-colored light beams shot out of the ground, easily piercing through the Jin Chi shadows and chasing after Yu Qin's real body. With his soul power, Yu Qin managed to dodge a couple of times. How is this possible? How did he know where the sword chi was going to explode? Yuan Zongbua opened his eyes wide. Even he could not dodge that sword attack, so he thought that Yu Qin would not be able to either. Yuan Zongbua bit on his teeth and poured half of his Jin Chi into his great sword, sending it into the ground. Boom! A 7 to 8 meters thick blood-colored light beam covered Yu Qin's dodging area, shooting up into the sky. Sword Chi Mountain. Holding the sword with both of his hands, Yu Qin waved down with all of his strength. All of a sudden, layers of mountain-like sword chi attacked the blood-colored light beam, canceling out the damage. Shoo! The blood-colored light beam covered a huge area. Even though it had cancelled out most of the impact, there was still a small part of the piercing power that was able to break Yu Qin's great mysterious body protecting Jin Chi. Right then, the great mysterious art that had been trained to the peak of its 9th realm finally showed its effect. The quality of his Jin Chi was way higher than normal Jin Chi. That thin layer of Jin Chi did not disappear at all, and was still protecting Yu Qin's body. Chapter 195. Impossible. How did he block it? Yuan Zongbua's one sword soaring sky consumed a lot of his Jin Chi. Before, he had thrown out dozens of sword attacks in a row, and then he threw out a sword attack with a huge range. Almost 70% of his Jin Chi had been used up, and the remaining Jin Chi was barely enough for him to perform a couple of small range attacks. However, those small range attacks were obviously not enough to lock onto Yu Qin's body, which was a waste of Jin Chi. Although I do not know what kind of medicine you use to recover your Jin Chi, but I have the purple gold Chi restoring pellet, which can recover 20 to 30% of my Jin Chi instantly. Even after using all of his ace attacks, he still could not kill Yu Qin. Yuan Zongbua planned to use the purple gold qi restoring pellet to exhaust Yu Chen to death. He did not believe that Yu Chen had better pellets. Plus, better pellets meant more valuable pellets. Even if he had one or two of them, it would already be very scary. Putting a purple gold pellet into his mouth, Yuan Zongbua took out his great sword, which was covered in blood. He lowered his body and approached Yu Chen, leaving a shadow behind. Yu Chen turned his body and faced Yuan Zongbua's attack head-on. He sneered in his mind. Exhaust me to death. I am afraid that I will still be alive after you die. Dang! The Star Scar sword clashed with Yuan Zongbua's great sword, and a circle of bright shockwaves spread out in all directions. The hard grass that had been under 10 times the normal gravity exploded layer by layer, bringing up waves of dirt. Eagle Fist. Holding the sword with his right hand and throwing out a punch with his left hand, Yuan Zongbua's attacks were like a storm. One after another, he threw out all of his killing attacks. He did not plan to give Yu Chen any chance to react. Dominating 1,000 years. It had been a long time since Yu Chen had used the Tyrant Fist art. Ever since he started training the Shocking Cloud Sword art, the Tyrant Fist art had been completely hidden away. But today, the Tyrant Fist art showed its power again. The first attack he performed was the fourth movement of the Tyrant Fist art, dominating 1,000 years. Once the fist was thrown out, the qi flow within hundreds of meters started to move. It was like the wind was blowing and the clouds were rolling. That shocking dominating aura seemed like it was going to rule the whole world. Yuan Zongbua's fist power could not move at all, as it was completely blocked out by Yu Chen's fist. If that was the case, it would have been fine. However, after a few consecutive attacks, his fist power seemed to have been penetrated, which made his entire arm feel numb. He could no longer control his power. Bang! With a thunderous explosion, the two of them were sent flying backwards. Dozens of deep footprints were left on the grassland. Yuan Zongbua was shocked. What kind of fist art was that? His eagle fist art was a low-rank Earth Realm fist art after all. Combined with his late clasping Yuan Realm Zhenqi, it should have been an overwhelming advantage. As his body glided out, Yu Chen calmed down. He thought that using the Tyrant Fist art to block the opponent's fist art would result in a tie at most, but the result was much better than what he had expected. Thinking about it, the Tyrant Fist art was one of the top low-rank Earth Realm fist arts. Each style was more powerful than the previous one. The fourth style, Tyrant Fist art, was already as powerful as a normal mid-rank Earth Realm fist art. Besides that, he had also used the sword intent in that fist art. Using the sword intent to integrate the fist power, he had already gained an innate advantage. I don't believe you can last that long. Yuan Zongbua was furious. His sword art could not hurt his opponent, and his fist art could not hurt him either. All of a sudden, he was so angry that his blood boiled. He threw out a sword and a fist attack. Split. Touching the ground with the tip of his foot, Yu Chen jumped out towards his opponent. Two Zhenqi shadows flashed out, one on the left and one on the right, following Yu Chen and attacking Yuan Zongbua. Dang! 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 Bang! 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 Sword against sword, fist against fist, mixed with the muffled sound of fists hitting the protective Zhenqi layer. The place where the two were fighting was extremely messy. Break! Letting the Zhenqi shadow attack his protective Zhenqi layer, Yuan Zongbua jumped into the air and threw out a punch towards Yu Chen's head with a sharp exploding sound. Yu Chen tilted his head, and a small hill behind him was blown up. Taking advantage of the fact that his opponent could not connect after throwing out a punch, Yu Chen took a step forward. His left fist carried a spiral power and attacked towards his opponent's Dantian Qi Si. As long as his attack landed, it would be enough to cripple his opponent. Qi Si sword. Yuan Zongbua held the sword in his right hand and stabbed towards Yu Chen's chest. At the same time, an extremely sharp sword chi was shot out from his dantian, clashing with Yi Chen's fist power. Dang! The Star Scar sword had blocked out his opponent's attack. Yi Chen's body flashed, and two human shadows appeared. Which one is real? Which one is fake? Yi Chen's movement was way too fast. Yuan Zongbua could only see a blur in front of his eyes, and then there was another person in front of him. He did not have time to think as he hurried to back out. His great sword that was covered in blood continuously threw out a spider web-like sword chi. Pooh! Pooh! The two human shadows were both shattered into pieces. Yuan Zongbua's scalp went numb. He screamed in his mind, not good. Both of them are fake. Damn it! Touching the ground with his feet, Yuan Zongbua jumped into the air. Shoo! The ground was cracked open, and sword chi flew out. Although you are not a good person, your battling experience and reaction are quite powerful. Coming out of the ground, Yi Chen raised his head and looked at Yuan Zongbua, who was in the air. Floating in the air, Yuan Zongbua's face turned pale. If he had hesitated for even a second, he would have been wounded even more. Do I really have to use that attack? Yi Chen's battling experience was not that good, but it was unpredictable and unpredictable. It was always surprising. Until now, Yuan Zongbua had started to doubt if he would be able to make him stay. Deep in his mind, he even started to think about backing out. However, this thought had only flashed through his mind for a second before it was immediately denied. What a joke! Even a peak-level early clasping Yuan Realm warrior could scare me away. Then, I will definitely have a problem in my heart in the future. A blue light flashed once again. Yi Chen performed his one-sword attack again. Seeing that, Yuan Zongbua made up his mind. His boiling zhenqi was poured into his right arm in a very aggressive manner. His skin started to crack all of a sudden. There were blood strands that merged with his zhenqi, making his zhenqi even thicker and redder. Minor blood demon body separating great art. Holding the great sword in his right arm, Yuan Zongbua threw out a sword attack. Whoosh! The blood-red sword chi expanded in the air, turning into 100 meters long sword chi. It shattered Yi Chen's blue sword chi and continued to fall down. The horrifying sword pressure made the ground collapse. A huge sword hole that was almost 1,000 meters long appeared. Yi Chen did not dare to hesitate. He threw out 3 different sword chi with the sword in his right hand, while his left hand suddenly formed a fist and threw out a series of attacks. Then, his right hand suddenly straightened like a blade, and suddenly pointed out his index finger in the air. All of those movements were done within a second. It was unbelievably fast and connected. If there were other top warriors here, they would have been shocked. In a battle between top warriors, doing 2 things at once was already the limit. Doing 3 things at once would only be possible if he had trained some kind of secret martial art. No one had ever seen anyone attack 6 times within a second, and all 6 times were different. It could be considered as doing 6 things at once. But of course, it was still a long way from actually doing 6 things at the same time. The 100 meters long blood-red sword chi started to wear out under the continuous attacks. Its power decreased drastically. When it got close to Yi Chen, it was only about 10 meters long. Pooh! The bloody sword chi that had been greatly weakened had been shattered. Yi Chen stepped on the ground and jumped into the air, leaving countless zhenqi shadows in the air. Some of these zhenqi shadows were very real, some were blurry, and some were clear in the front but blurry in the back. There were all kinds of different shapes and sizes. The reason why he did that was to trick Yuan Zongbua so that he would not be able to tell where his real body was. I don't care how many zhenqi shadows you have, I will break them all with one sword attack. Yuan Zongbua had bought the minor blood demon body separating art from a top warrior. It was said that it was the simplified version of the blood demon body separating art from one of the 108 ghost warriors of the 9 ghost cult. Although the simplified version of the minor blood demon body separating art was much less powerful, it did not have the danger of exploding, and it would not hurt his core either. However, the side effects were still not small. If nothing happened to his right arm, it would dry up like a piece of wood, and his blood would dry up. Without any medicine to help him recover, his arm would be useless. The arm that was getting skinnier and skinnier was surrounded by a blood mist. Yuan Zongbua's face looked extremely twisted as he waved out a sword attack towards the group of human shadows. It was like a blood-red sun, and all of the human shadows were cut into pieces within a second. After performing the Demon Dao's secret martial art, your reaction speed has slowed down. All of a sudden, Yi Chen's voice came from behind Yuan Zongbua. Release. Yuan Zongbua was shocked. His back suddenly cracked open, and his Jin Qi and blood threads combined into a blood-red Qi shield to protect his body. Pop! Yi Chen only threw out one finger attack, and a small hole appeared on the blood-red Qi shield. The finger power landed on Yuan Zongbua's back from a distance. Yuan Zongbua's body was blown away by that finger attack. He yelled, "Impossible! You broke my minor blood demon body separating great art with only one finger attack." Yi Chen shook his head as he quickly caught up with Yuan Zongbua. He thought to himself, I did not realize that the void-shattering finger had the effect of breaking Jin Qi. Right now, its power is not as powerful as the sword Qi, but in terms of breaking Jin Qi, the sword Qi is not as powerful as it is. Combined with the sword intent, this finger attack can be considered as the ace attack of breaking Jin Qi. Yi Chen had performed 6 different martial arts in that split second, and one of them was the void-shattering finger. To his surprise, he realized that when the void-shattering finger attacked Jin Qi, its power was even more powerful than the sword Qi. Unfortunately, it was not very powerful for warriors. Otherwise, with that finger attack, Yuan Zongbua would have been either dead or severely injured. Young warrior, you should be more lenient when it is possible. There is no need to kill all of them. Just as Yi Chen was about to catch up with Yuan Zongbua, a human shadow suddenly appeared in front of him and threw out a palm attack. Along with that palm attack, a huge Jin Qi hand appeared out of nowhere. It was extremely heavy, and one could clearly see the fingerprints on it. It was about to grab onto Yi Chen's body and stop him right away. Yi Chen's face looked very dark. He kept on throwing out his void-shattering finger attacks at the Jin Qi hand. All of a sudden, the Jin Qi hand was full of holes, and was completely destroyed. That person was a bit surprised, but he backed off with a smile on his face. Where do you think you are going? That palm attack was obviously aimed at him. How could Yi Chen not know? Killing intent rose in his heart. Yi Chen left Yuan Zongbua behind and chased after that person. He also took the chance to check him out. He was wearing a brown shirt and looked to be in his 50s. He had a calm smile on his face, as if what he had just done was just a joke. Seeing Yi Chen chasing after him, that person frowned. Young warrior, I am here to stop the fight. Why are you chasing after me? That is so unreasonable. Chapter 196. Cut the crap. Leave something behind before you leave. Yi Chen pointed out his right index finger in the air. Streams of invisible finger power shot out, blocking his opponent from all directions. There was only one finger power left in the middle. The brown-robed middle-aged man's expression changed. This finger power could even penetrate his Jin Qi palm print, and if it landed on his body, it would be disastrous. However, he was wrong. The power of the void-shattering finger art could only slightly injure him at most, it couldn't even seriously injure him. Gold-shattering finger. The middle finger and thumb of his right hand turned into a golden color as he flicked out his finger. Pap! The two finger powers clashed together, and the Qi spread out in all directions. The power of the void-shattering finger art has been cancelled out. It should be a mid-rank Earth Realm finger art. Yi Chen understood. Although the void-shattering finger art was at a very high rank, Yi Chen had not even learned 1/10 of it. Therefore, he could not do anything to a low-rank mid-rank finger art. If it did not have the effect of breaking Jin Qi, he might have been shattered by the finger power. Kill. His left index finger kept pointing out, breaking the Jin Qi, while his right hand held the sword and waved out the sword. At this moment, Yi Chen's fighting power had reached its limit, which he had never thought of before. The middle-aged man in brown kept stepping back. After a few rounds of fighting, he had roughly figured out Yi Chen's finger art. It should be a finger art that could break Jin Qi, and its attacking power was not that high. With the strength of his protective Jin Qi, it should be able to block out 60 to 70% of Yi Chen's power, and the remaining 30 to 40% would not be that powerful. At most, it would only slightly wound him. On the other hand, his gold-shattering finger art was very powerful, and it should be able to break through his protective Jin Qi easily. However, Yi Chen obviously knew about this weakness. Yi Chen used his left hand to break through his protective Jin Qi while his right hand used his sword art to attack his weak spot. Flower on finger. Taking a deep breath, the middle-aged man let out a low growl. His middle finger that was on his thumb flicked out, creating a blurry shadow. Countless light golden finger powers clashed with each other in the air, layer upon layer, and eventually formed a beautiful golden flower, attacking towards Yi Chen. This move is powerful. As soon as the golden flower appeared, Yi Chen immediately sensed its structure. That thin golden petal contained an extremely horrifying cutting power, and his protective Jin Qi could not block it at all. He was afraid that even his King Kong jade body would be crushed by it. He stuffed 3 Jin Qi replenishing pills into his mouth, swallowed one, and hid the other 2 in his mouth, just in case he needed them. The Jin Qi inside Yi Chen's body started to circulate crazily in a mysterious way, and finally compressed together, pouring into his right arm and into his index finger through a special meridian. His whole index finger suddenly became illusory, and the air around it started to twist. Break. The illusory index finger enlarged by more than 10 times in the air. It was as thick as an arm, and like a shooting star, it struck the center of the golden flower. Bang 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 bang, the golden flower exploded, and the illusory index finger vanished into thin air. The brown-robed middle-aged man was shocked. The flower-blossoming finger was the last move of the gold-shattering finger. It was extremely powerful, but it had been blocked. What kind of finger art was that? Could it be that he had underestimated it? Mr. Jean, let's work together to kill this brat. Otherwise, he will be a disaster in the future. Yuan Zongbua appeared next to the middle-aged man out of nowhere. There was still blood on the corner of his mouth, and the clothes on his right arm were fluttering in the air, as if there was no flesh or blood inside. The middle-aged man who was called Mr. Jean smiled. I am only here to stop the fight. I am not interested in your fight. Yuan Zongbua sneered, Mr. Jean, the others might not know about you, but I do. You have killed countless warriors and taken all their wealth. Hee, you do know a lot. The smile on Mr. Jin's face did not change. But in the eyes of Yuan Zongbua and Yi Chen, it was a very dangerous and creepy smile. Then what do you think? Although Yuan Zongbua said that, he was secretly on guard against Mr. Jin. He had been wounded quite badly. His right arm and his back had almost been sucked dry by the minor blood demon body separating great art. If he continued to perform the minor blood demon body separating great art, his whole body would turn into a mummy, and there would be no cure in this world. Working with Mr. Jin was because he wanted to kill Yi Chen for good. But he was more worried that Mr. Jin would kill him after killing Yi Chen. The good thing was that he had the power to protect himself, and he believed that Mr. Jin knew that. I wanted to stop the fight, but this brat was just too bloodthirsty. He would kill anyone he saw. You know, one should forgive people when possible. God is kind to all living things. In order to prevent others from being harmed by him, I have no choice but to work with you and kill this little devil. Mr. Jin always appeared in the heavy mystery mountains. Whenever he saw warriors fighting, he would step in and help the wounded side by stopping the fight. Then, he would take the chance to kill the other side. By then, the wounded side would not be able to fight with him for the wealth, and it would be easy for him. But of course, if there was a chance, he would not mind killing one of them and then killing the one who was cooperating with him. That way, he would have 2 shares of the wealth. However, this time, he had made a mistake. Yi Chen's battling power was not that powerful, but that finger art of his had scared him. Yi Chen looked very serious. Mr. Jin's power was just as powerful as Yuan Zongbua when he was at his peak. He was not a simple guy, especially that gold-shattering finger art, which was able to compete with his void-shattering finger art, which had taken away some of his advantages. As for his nonsense, Yi Chen did not care about it at all. The path of a warrior had always been to walk on mountains of corpses and oceans of blood. If people wanted to kill him, then he would kill them. After getting Mr. Jin's reply, Yuan Zongbua looked at Yi Chen with confidence. I have said it before. Today, the heavy mystery mountains will be your burial ground. Yi Chen said lightly, the next time we meet, I will beat you until you become a mummy. You. Yuan Zongbua swallowed a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with killing intent. Mr. Jin shook his head, a life and death battle is not the solution. I will give you one chance. Put down the storage ring on your finger as compensation for Brother Yuan's injury. I will not ask for anything, as long as you hand over this finger art manual and let me destroy it in front of everyone. Can't you say something normal? With the pellet that could instantly replenish his Zhen Qi, Yi Chen was not afraid of wasting his Zhen Qi. He performed his void-shattering finger art, and a shadow of his index finger attacked towards the 2. Little devil, you are so stubborn. Mr. Jin flicked his finger at a fast speed, and a gold flower appeared. At the same time, he said to Yuan Zongbua, I will block him, and you use your sword Qi to break his protective Zhen Qi. All right. Yuan Zongbua grabbed a bright red spirit plant and put it into his mouth. He chewed for a couple of times before swallowing it down. Feeling that his Qi and blood had recovered a bit, his body flashed, drawing a red arc in the air. He went around to Yi Chen's back and threw out a sword attack. Dang! The Star Scar sword appeared in his hand as Yi Chen blocked out the incoming attack with his sword. With the attacking power of the sword Qi, he increased his speed and shot towards Mr. Jin. His finger power seemed to have covered the entire surreal space. Perfect timing. Mr. Jin knew about the void-shattering finger art, so he was not afraid of close combat. He turned around and faced Yi Chen, finger against finger. They wanted to see who would be the first one to collapse. Pop! 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 The 2 were exchanging attacks at an extremely fast speed. Within a second, they had already exchanged dozens of finger attacks. Each finger attack had cancelled out each other, and neither of them could do anything to the other. Blood Eagle 3 sword attacks. Yuan Zongbua was having a headache. This brat was extremely cunning. Seeing that he and Mr. Jin had teamed up, Yi Chen had chosen to fight close combat immediately. Therefore, unless Yuan Zongbua chose to fight close combat as well, he would not be able to help at all. That sword attack had been stored for a long time before it could be thrown out. It was like he had eyes on his back. Yi Chen's real body walked out of the Zhen Qi shadow, letting the Zhen Qi shadow take that sword attack for him. Then, he jumped towards Mr. Jin again. Whatever. With the 2 of us teaming up, can we still not beat him? Flashing his body, Yuan Zongbua also joined in the close combat area. 1 finger and 1 sword. The 2's cooperation was not perfect, but it was not that bad either. They had locked Yi Chen in a controllable area. Separate. Yi Chen did not change his expression. His body shook once, and 4 human shadows flew out. It was hard to tell which one was the real one. Kill. Yuan Zongbua had cut down 2 human shadows with 1 sword attack, while the other 2 had been blocked by Mr. Jin. After killing one of them, the remaining one would be the real one. Separate again. Swallowing a pellet that was hidden in his mouth, Yi Chen's Zhenqi recovered to its peak. He performed his separating shadow flying art again and again. 3 human shadows appeared one after another, stacking on top of each other. They attacked the 2 from different angles, not giving them any chance to team up. So tricky. How come his Zhenqi is never going to run out? Mr. Jean was quite regretful. If he had known that Yi Chen had so many tricks up his sleeves, he would not have been so greedy. If he could not kill Yi Chen today, then he might have to face crazy revenge in the future, which was not what he wanted. Yuan Zongbui yelled, "Mr. Jean, do not hide your ace attacks anymore. You can see that he is quite troublesome. Alright, today I will start a massacre." Mr. Jean pointed at his body a couple of times with his finger. The Zhenqi vibration suddenly increased. It seemed to be a secret martial art that could increase one's battling power. However, this martial art was obviously incomplete. After performing it, Mr. Jean could not help but puke out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale gold. After clashing with Mr. Jin's finger attack, Yi Chen was blown away immediately. He thought to himself, his opponent's battling power has increased by more than 10%. I cannot drag this any longer. Up until now, Yi Chen had been relying on his separating shadow flying art the most. Without it, he would not be able to dodge most of the attacks. Although the void-shattering finger art was effective in breaking Zhenqi, it was still not as good as the separating shadow flying art. Right now, there was only one sword attack that he could use. The one sword attack had improved along with his cultivation, and it was still his biggest ace attack. Mr. Jin's Zhenqi protection was obviously not as good as Yuan Zongbu's. Forcing Yuan Zongbu away with one finger attack, Yi Chen's body kept shaking. Countless Zhenqi shadows shot out, blurring everything. Some of them were standing side by side, some were moving up and down, and some were flying at an extreme speed. What was more horrifying was that there were a lot of Zhenqi shadows that overlapped with each other, making it hard to tell which one was the real one. 2 Zhenqi shadows shot out towards Mr. Jean, with Yi Chen's real body hidden within. Break! Boom! A loud explosion was heard. One of the human shadows had been shattered, and the other one's surface had been shattered as well, revealing Yi Chen's real body. Yi Chen held his sword with both of his hands, focusing all of his attention on the Star Scar sword. He threw out a sword attack from above, and the light blue sword light formed into a line. The one sword attack from a close distance. Mr. Jean sensed that something was not right, but it was already too late for him to perform his gold-shattering finger attack. He hurried to push his Zhenqi protection layer, making it thicker than it had ever been. At the same time, he put his right middle finger on his thumb, wanting to hit Yi Chen's body the second he blocked out his opponent's sword attack. Chapter 197. Swoosh. The sound of paper being cut open was heard. Mr. Jin's protective Zhenqi layer did not last long under that sword attack. Soon, it was cut in half. The light blue sword light drew a bloody line on his chest, slanted and clean. You dare to cut open my defense with one sword attack? You should die as well. His bloodied body was blown backward. Mr. Jin's face was twisted as he flicked out his middle finger that was on his thumb. The powerful finger power had also pierced through Yi Chen's protective Zhenqi layer and landed on his chest. Boom! Yi Chen could only feel like his chest had been struck by lightning. The sound of his ribs breaking could be heard clearly. Then, a huge wave of power blew him away. From Yuan Zongbu's perspective, he could not tell who was hit first. All he could see was Yi Chen waving his sword, and Mr. Jean flicking his finger. Both of them were blown away. Hee, it would be best if both of us were wounded. Blood Eagle 5 sword attacks. His powerful Zhenqi was poured into his great sword. The second Yi Chen was wounded, Yuan Zongbu's arm turned into a shadow. He threw out 5 beams of sword chi within a blink of an eye. These 5 beams of sword chi, 1 in the front, 2 in the top, and 2 in the bottom, formed into the sharp beak of an eagle. Huge wings, and a pair of sharp claws that could even pierce through steel, all of them were attacking towards Yi Chen at an extremely fast speed. The air that it touched was instantly cut into pieces, and could not gather together again. I have been watching out for you. His body was still flying backward. Nobody knew when, but Yi Chen's index finger started to turn blurry. The air around his fingers started to twist rapidly, creating a small pattern. Hit. Without even looking, Yi Chen pointed out his finger to his left. Boom. 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 The sharp blood-red sword chi was shattered upon touching it. The index finger went through it and landed on Yuan Zongbu's protective Jin Qi layer. His protective Jin Qi layer exploded. Yuan Zongbu made a muffled sound as his skinny body fell onto the ground. All 3 of them were wounded. It seemed like all 3 of them were wounded, and none of them had the upper hand. This kid is so fucking hard to deal with. Yuan Zongbu and Mr. Jin both had the same thought. If they were in Yi Chen's place, even if their battling power was increased by 30%, they would still not be able to win against the 2 of them. However, as the fight went on, they had fallen into their opponent's fighting style, and were being led by the nose. Their 5-point advantage had turned into 4 points, and then 4 points had turned into 3 points. Now, the 3-point advantage had disappeared, and it had become a draw. If this kid isn't killed, there will never be a day of peace. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Mr. Jin sprinkled some healing powder on his wound. As soon as he landed on the ground, he dashed toward Yi Chen, leaving a series of afterimages behind him. Yes, we can't let him leave alive, even if we have to pay a small price. If Mr. Jin was not here, Yuan Zongbu would have run away a long time ago. Right now, with the power of the 2 of them, they still had the chance to kill Yi Chen. Once he escaped, they would have to worry about him in the future. Seeing Mr. Jin rushing toward Yi Chen, Yuan Zongbu did not care about his wounded body anymore. He formed a bloody Jin Qi eagle outside his body, flapped its wings, and drew a bloody arc in the air. The 2's attacks arrived almost at the same time, shattering Yi Chen's body. Not right. It was another Jin Qi afterimage, and it was 3 Jin Qi afterimages stacked on top of each other, looking so real. Damn it, I got tricked by this brat again. Mr. Jin and Yuan Zongbu looked around, trying to find out where Yi Chen's real body was. Behind a dozens of meters tall hill. Yi Chen was standing there with his back straight. Wounding them is already the best I can do. Being greedy will only make me lose more than I gain. He understood very well that it was not because he was powerful enough to create such a situation. It was because he had controlled the battle very well, and the separating shadow flying art was the most important one. Letting out a breath, Yi Chen threw out a punch onto the hill. Boom! The whole hill was shattered into pieces, turning into hundreds and thousands of huge rocks that were thrown out, covering Yuan Zongbu and Mr. Jin who were in front of the hill. After doing all that, Yi Chen left behind a Jin Qi afterimage as his real body flashed into the distance. The sky full of rocks had been shattered. Yuan Zongbu and Mr. Jin saw Yi Chen's Jin Qi afterimage immediately. They were just about to make their moves when they suddenly stopped. I let him get away. Shattering the Jin Qi afterimage with one finger, Mr. Jin's face looked very bad. Yuan Zongbu tried to comfort himself. Once a warrior reaches the clasping Yuan realm, it is not something that can be done in a day or 2. There is no need to be afraid of him. After all, you and I are still more powerful than him. If it were not for the fact that he is so cunning, he would have been killed by us already. You are right. Next time we meet, we will not give him any chance. The 2 glanced at each other, and Yuan Zongbu suddenly backed out for dozens of steps. His wounds were way more serious than Mr. Jin's, and he would not be able to win against him alone. Mr. Jin felt a bit regretful. being able to kill Yuan Zongbua was indeed a good thing. Thousands of miles away from the heavy mysterious mountain, there was a normal-looking mountain. It was thousands of meters tall, and had a radius of 7 to 8 miles. It was a barren land, with barely any people around. In the middle of the mountain, there was a hidden cave. It was half blocked by huge rocks, and was full of weeds. Mr. Jin's finger power was extremely aggressive. Even my King Kong jade body was almost pierced through. Without half a month of rest, I would not be able to get back to my peak condition. Alright, I will rest in this cave for a while, and see if I can train my mysterious great art to the 10th realm. The 10th realm of the mysterious Jin Qi should be even more powerful than the Jin Qi trained by normal mid-rank Earth realm martial arts. My attacking power should be even more powerful. Sitting on the dry ground, a lot of thoughts flashed through Yi Chen's mind. The pure jade body boosting spell was a low-rank Earth realm body training martial art, and Yi Chen had already trained the 5th spell, the King Kong jade body. With this powerful body, Yi Chen dared to fight against his opponent. Although that finger art was powerful, it would not be able to pierce through his mysterious Jin Qi layer and his King Kong jade body. He believed that Mr. Jin's wounds were way more serious than his, since the one-sword attack was not that easy to handle. As for the mysterious great art, he had gotten it from the Heaven Dream ancient region. It was one of the top of the mid-rank Earth realm martial arts, especially the 11th realm, which would allow him to produce a mouthful of Jin Yuan that only astral-reaching realm warriors could have. It would definitely become one of Yi Chen's new ace attacks. By then, killing Yuan Zongbua and Mr. Jin would only take him 2 to 3 attacks. With his current peak level 9th realm, the quality of his Jin Qi had already reached the same level as Mr. Jin, who had reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Let's not worry about that for now. Rest is the most important thing. Getting rid of all the distracting thoughts, Yi Chen swallowed a healing pellet and closed his eyes to meditate. There was no sun or moon in the mountain. 10 days had passed in a blink of an eye. On this day, Yi Chen opened his eyes again. A sharp light flashed through his eyes, which looked like the sword light and sword chi of a sword artist, extremely sharp. I guessed it right. Only battles can help me to improve faster. After half a month of rest, Yi Chen's cultivation had been completely stabilized, and he was only one step away from the mid-clasping Yuan realm. Besides that, his mysterious Jin Qi, which had been quiet for a long time, had finally started to show signs of breaking through to the 10th realm. It was indeed a very fast improvement. I should strike while the iron is hot. I might as well break through to the 10th realm here before I leave. A determined look flashed through his eyes. Yi Chen stood up and walked out of the half-closed cave. After taking a few breaths, he went back into the cave and completely sealed the entrance. Looking from the outside, people would only think that there was nothing in there, only a pile of rocks and weeds. No one would notice that there was a cave behind the rocks, and that there was someone training in the cave. He swallowed the spirit, chi, and spirit pellets. Since he was not training his Jin Qi, Yi Chen did not need to use the low-rank soul stones to absorb the Yuan Qi from them. The mysterious Jin Qi followed the unique meridians of the mysterious art, slowly but powerfully running. With each cycle, Yi Chen could feel that he had absorbed a little bit of impurities from his Jin Qi, and was getting closer to the 10th realm. The 36th cycle. The 72nd cycle. The 360th cycle. Only until his meridian started to hurt a little did Yi Chen stop running his Jin Qi. He sat there with his legs crossed and closed his eyes to rest, not moving at all. The human body had the ability to repair itself, and a martial artist's healing ability was even more powerful than a normal human being's. Meridians would become tougher as their cultivation increased. It was said that once a martial artist reached the astral reaching realm, he or she would be able to run Jin Yuan continuously for a month without damaging his or her meridians. Once a martial artist reached the Sea of Souls realm, he or she would be able to run Jin Qi for 10 times longer, which would be more than enough for a year. As for what would happen in the life and death realm, normal people would not be able to understand. Even Yi Chen did not know if the training of life and death realm warriors was the same. Waiting until his meridians had almost recovered, Yi Chen continued to run his mysterious Shin Qi. The spirit, Qi, and spirit pellets were consumed one by one, and the days passed by one after another. The weeds outside started to wither, and a layer of frost covered them. It turned out that the winter of the Black Dragon Empire had arrived, and everything was bleak. A woodsman was walking on the mountain road, carrying a huge wild boar on his shoulder. The huge wild boar was a rank 2 demonic beast, called the Red-Eye Battle Boar. Even Mortal Realm Stage 7 or 8 warriors would not be able to compete with it. This woodsman was able to kill a Red-Eye Battle Boar, so he must be at least at the Mortal Realm Stage 8. Anyone below the Mortal Realm Stage 5 is considered a normal human being. I could be considered the number 1 warrior in this village. The woodsman thought to himself, then found a pile of rocks and sat down. Yah! The natural Yuan Qi here is strange, why does it feel like it is going into a hole? As a Mortal Realm warrior, the woodsman was not unfamiliar with the natural Yuan Qi. He thought of a possibility, that there might be some kind of magical plant growing in that pile of rocks. A magical plant that could absorb the natural Yuan Qi was extremely valuable, it could easily be sold for thousands of gold, and if it could increase one's cultivation, it would be even more amazing. All of a sudden, the woodsman could not resist the itch in his heart. He also wanted to become a condensing reality realm warrior and explore the outside world, but he was too old, it would be impossible for him to do so within the next 10 years. If he could find a magical plant that could increase his cultivation, then it would not be a problem. The woodsman put down the Red-Eye Battle Boar and started to move the rocks. Halfway through, the woodcutter took a few steps back. Between the cracks of the rocks, there was actually a glaring blue light seeping out. Strand by strand, the blue light filled the air. That piercing aura caused the woodcutter to feel a chill run down his spine. His hair stood on end. It was several times more terrifying than the 4th-level demonic beast he had seen from afar. Whoosh! The air vibrated, and a light ripple spread out. The frost on the ground cracked, turning into ice shards. The ice shards shattered and turned into a white mist. The white mist was blown away and spread out in all directions. Then, the remaining half of the rock started to shake, making a crashing sound. Seeing this, the woodsman felt an invisible pressure on his heart. Chapter 198. Weird. Let's back off a bit first. Carrying the battle boar, the axeman took dozens of steps back and jumped onto a high ground. He then hid behind a huge rock, staring at the pile of rocks without blinking. Boom! The blue light exploded. Hundreds of rocks were blown away like they were caught in a terrifying storm, shooting out in all directions. Danger! The axeman's face was pale. He dropped the battle boar and lied on the ground. The high ground looked like it had been hit by an earthquake, shaking violently. Looking from the cave, one could see that the high ground was full of holes, not much better than a hornet's nest. The only reason it was still standing was because of the huge amount of iron minerals that no one had discovered before. After a long time, the axeman crawled up from the ground. Looking at the high ground that was full of cracks, he could not help but be shocked. He subconsciously looked at the pile of rocks. The pile of rocks had disappeared, and what appeared in his sight was a pitch-black cave. The air outside the cave was like a wave. Pap! 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 Footsteps were heard, and a human figure walked out slowly. Finally reached the 10th level of the mysterious great art. The Zhenqi quality is indeed different. The human figure was indeed Yi Chen. He had been training in the cave, and had finally reached the 10th level of the mysterious great art. The 10th level of the mysterious Zhenqi was extremely powerful, much more powerful than the 9th level. Yi Chen started to wonder if the mysterious great art was really a mid-rank Earth realm martial art. Why was it so much more powerful than normal mid-rank Earth realm martial arts? Even the best ones should not have this kind of Jinqi quality. Waving his hand, the pile of rocks on the ground were all shattered into dust. Yichen looked at the axeman. Did I hurt you just now? There was actually someone training in there. This person must be very powerful. The axeman stuttered, No. I am sorry for disturbing your training. I will leave now, please don't kill me. Even though Woodcutter hadn't gone out to wander before, he had heard from some passing practitioners that high-level practitioners were most afraid of people disturbing their cultivation. Once they were provoked, they would kill at the slightest provocation without mercy. The other party had a friendly expression, so it couldn't be a sign that he was about to kill someone, right? Yichen smiled. If it was a few days ago, I might have been very angry. Now, it doesn't count as disturbing me. Yichen wasn't joking. A few days ago was his opportunity to break through. If he was interrupted, he wouldn't kill anyone, but he would definitely be angry. As for the consequences of being angry, he didn't know. Oh. That's good. The woodcutter patted his chest and broke out in cold sweat. By the way, are you a woodcutter nearby? The woodcutter nodded. My house is in Huayang village, which is more than 20 miles away. It's not far from here. Usually, when I have nothing to do, I come here to hunt and share the meat with the villagers. Give it to the villagers. Yichen smiled. He could tell that the axeman was at the peak of Mortal Realm Stage 8. If he was outside, he would only be a commoner, but in a remote village, he would be considered as a powerful warrior. Not everyone had the opportunity to practice martial arts. I'm about to go down the mountain, let's go together. In a flash, Yichen appeared on the mountain path. Alright, wait for me. Carrying the red-eye battle boar, the woodcutter ran as fast as he could, following closely behind Yichen. To be able to talk to a powerful warrior, even if it was just walking with him, was already a rare thing. If the villagers knew about this, they would definitely worship him even more. After all, the most powerful warrior the villagers had ever seen was only a mid-condensing reality realm warrior. Judging from his chi, he was not even 1/10 as powerful as Yichen. The mountain was not very high, and the two soon reached the foot of the mountain. Yichen was about to leave, but he suddenly frowned. What's wrong? The woodcutter was a bit worried. He knew that Yichen was about to leave. Yichen said seriously, a very strong demonic chi, covering the sky and the ground. It doesn't look like a single beast, but more like a lot of beasts gathered together. A lot of beasts? The woodcutter froze for a second, then said in shock, Isn't that a beast wave? Is there really going to be a beast wave this winter? Yichen looked at him. Do you know what's going on? The woodcutter shook his head, then nodded. 2 months ago, a warrior who was passing by told me that there would be a lot of beasts this winter. He told me to go to the city as soon as possible, or else I would lose my life. At that time, I thought he was joking. There hasn't been a beast wave in the past 300 years, how could it happen now? He was right, the beast wave is really coming. Yichen looked up at the sky. The clear sky had started to darken, and there was a gray chi flow hovering above, forming huge dark clouds, covering the sky and moving towards them at an extremely fast speed. That horrifying aura even shocked Yichen. Not good, there are only normal people in the village, I have to go inform them now. You are too slow, let me give you a ride. Grabbing the woodcutter's shoulder with his right hand, Yichen extended his body and flew out like a huge bird. He said, Point me in the right direction. Thank you, this way. The woodcutter was very grateful. Yichen was obviously a top-rank warrior, but he did not have any arrogance at all, which was completely different from what he remembered of top-rank warriors. Yichen did not think too much about it. After coming to this world, he had already learned about the rule of power. But, he still had the mark of that world in his bones. If he ran into someone who needed help, and he had the power, he would not reject it. Otherwise, what would be the point of being a powerful warrior? Yi Chen's speed was extremely fast, and within dozens of blinks, he had already traveled dozens of miles. Yeah. There are a lot of beasts in the sky. The beast wave was something that happened quite often in this true spirit continent. As for why it would happen, no one knew for sure. All they knew was that at a certain time, the beasts in a certain place would go crazy and start to attack the places where humans lived. The beasts that were closest to the place would undoubtedly arrive the fastest, especially the flying beasts. They were the ones that killed the most people in the early stages. They are coming. The woodcutter raised his head to take a look. Not far away, the sky was covered in darkness. Among them were Class 3 demonic beasts, red smelting bird, blood crow, flamingo, Class 4 demonic beasts, twin-headed bird, four-clawed eagle, flying lizard, Class 5 demonic beasts, ghost-head eagle, winged wolf. There were too many of them. Any one of the flying demonic beasts could tear him into pieces. Tornado broken clouds. The star-scar sword appeared in his hand as Yi Chen threw out a sword attack towards the place with the most flying beasts. The next second, the tornado mixed with Jin Qi swept over with a whistling sound, and the sword Qi shot out. It didn't matter if it was the 3rd grade flying demon beasts, the 4th grade flying demon beasts, or the 5th grade flying demon beasts, all of them fell from the sky one after another. It was as if a black rainstorm had fallen. He killed dozens of flying beasts with one sword attack. The woodcutter's eyes were wide open. He thought that Yi Chen was only at early clasping Yuan realm, and would be able to compete with normal rank 5 beasts. But now, it seemed like even rank 6 beasts would not be able to compete with him. Plus, he looked so young, about the same age as his nephew. Actually, he had guessed it right. Yi Chen's cultivation had not improved that much, but with the entry-level sword intent, plus the 10th level of the Great Mysterious Art, Yi Chen's attacking power was already almost the same as the older late-clasping Yuan realm warriors. Right now, if Mr. Jin or Yuan Zongbua were to fight against him alone, he would have 70% chance to wound them badly, and 20% chance to kill them completely. Roar! A huge beast with wings on its back and eagle claws dove towards the two. Its speed soon surpassed the speed of sound, which was even faster than Yi Chen. Not good. It is a rank 6 beast, the eagle tiger beast. In the city, one could buy a beginner beast book with 100 gold, which included all the beasts from rank 1 to 6. The eagle tiger beast was one of them, and its power could be ranked in the top 100. The woodcutter had bought one before and kept it in his house. Yi Chen did not care too much about it. Compared to the winged wolf, this eagle tiger beast was way too weak. Judging from its chi, it was just like a normal late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Shocking cloud. With a sword attack, a thunderous sound was heard. Swoosh. The eagle tiger beast came fast, but it died fast as well. Its head had been cut in half by the sword Qi. It was killed just like that. The woodcutter's mouth was wide open. Soon, the two arrived at the village. The beast wave is coming. Everyone, go to the city. After landing on the ground, the woodcutter yelled out with all of his strength. What? The beast wave is coming? How is this possible? We haven't had a beast wave for 300 years. Brother Gao, are you kidding me? Yeah, although you are the #1 warrior in our village, you can't scare us like that. Hearing them, most of the energetic young men did not believe it. With one sword attack, Yi Chen cracked the small hill outside of the village, and said with a cold voice, if you don't want to die, go to the city. You won't be able to leave even if you want to. A high-level warrior. The villagers who ran out of their houses were shocked. The village head was an old man with white hair. He yelled, a high-level warrior would not lie to us. Everyone, go to the city now. Don't bring anything with you, just bring some food and valuables. The villagers screamed and ran back to their houses to pack their belongings. All of a sudden, the sound of shouting, crying, and rummaging made the atmosphere even heavier. Standing on top of the village wall, Yichen frowned. In the distance, a black mass of flying beasts was approaching. There were a lot of them, and with his power alone, he would not be able to protect all of them. Plus, these were only some of the beasts in the early stages of the beast wave. The longer it dragged on, the more beasts there would be. By then, the number would not be calculated by thousands, but by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions. A village and a town would not be able to handle it. Only a huge city could hold on for a while. As for how long it could last, it would depend on whether it was a small beast wave or a medium one. Normally, there would not be rank 7 beasts appearing in a small beast wave, while a medium beast wave would send out rank 7 beasts one by one. Only astral-reaching realm warriors would be able to handle it. As for the large beast wave, Yichen did not even dare to think about it, because once it happened, even the royal city might not be able to handle it. Then, it would be a real disaster for humanity. Shoo! 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 Shoving 3 Zhenqi replenishing pellets into his mouth, Yichen held his star-scar sword with both of his hands, performing his tornado broken clouds a couple of times. Countless tornadoes were created, attacking towards the flying beasts in the distance. Swoosh! The flying beasts fell down one after another, clearing up the sky. Most of the beasts that had gathered here were from the mountains or the forests nearby, so there were not many of them. Under the lead of the village head, the villagers who had packed up their belongings started to head east. Hundreds of miles away, there was a small city called the Iron City. Chapter 199. Young warrior, all the villagers are heading towards the Iron City. I think it will take them 2 or 3 days to get there. The axeman walked over to inform Yichen. Yichen jumped down from the wall and asked, "What are the villages within 10 miles of Huaiyang Village?" "And Liyang Village, Big Mountain Village, Lu Family Village, Big River Village, Willow Village, and Yellow Mountain Town," the axeman said. Yichen said, "The beasts are very fast. I am afraid they will catch up before we reach the Iron City. You tell the villagers to go to the Yellow Mountain Town first. The more people there are, the safer it will be." In the early stage, the beasts would not be very powerful. Occasionally, there would be rank 5 or 6 beasts that Yichen could handle by himself. But most of the villagers were normal people. Even a rank 1 or 2 beast would be able to tear them into pieces. They would need a large group of warriors to protect them. As a town, the Yellow Mountain Town would not lack condensing reality realm warriors. If they were lucky, they might even be able to find a few clasping Yuan realm warriors. Young warrior, you are right. The axeman was not stupid. He knew that Yichen's power was limited, and it would be impossible for him to protect the hundreds of people in the village. In front of thousands of beasts, any random attack would be able to kill all the people in the village. Alright, let's go. After performing 4 tornado broken clouds in a row, the horrifying tornado had killed almost all of the flying beasts in the sky. Yichen grabbed the axeman and flew towards the direction where the villagers were heading. After an hour, they met the villagers of Liyang Village. After 6 hours, the villagers of the Big Mountain Village had gathered. The number of people had grown from 300 to more than 1,000. This group of people was heading towards the Yellow Mountain Town, which was 10 miles away. "Xiao Gao, who is this young man? He killed so many beasts by himself?" The chief of Liyang Village asked the axeman. The axeman scratched his head and said proudly, "He is a high-level warrior. As for his name, I did not ask. I didn't ask. Anyway, he's a powerful high-level martial artist." "Yeah. If it weren't for him, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to survive." The Big Mountain Village chief stared at the corpses of the demonic beasts in the distance and was shocked. This was already the 3rd wave of beasts that Yichen had killed. Each wave had hundreds of beasts, and the most dangerous one was from the front of the group. Obviously, they were beasts that lived near the Yellow Mountain town. Yi Chen was able to fight against an experienced late-clasping Yuan Realm warrior, and he also had a couple of wide-range attacks from his Sky Cloud sword art. Added with the Zhenqi replenishing pellets, he was barely able to protect the group from harm. Even so, over 100 people had died during the 30-kilometer journey. There are more demonic beasts coming from that direction. There are so many of them, at least 1,000. Along the way, some warriors who were passing by volunteered to protect the group. Most of them were mid-condensing reality realm warriors, and there was only one late-condensing reality realm warrior. The one who spoke was a man in his 30s, holding a huge machete in his hand, which was dripping with blood. Yi Chen said, "I will try my best to kill them, you guys protect the group." "Alright, you be careful." The man knew that Yi Chen was very powerful, and the beasts in the early stage would not be able to hurt him. Shoo! With a shake of his body, Yi Chen split into 3 Zhenqi shadows and rushed towards the beast wave side by side. Kill! Yi Chen's real body created a tornado with his sword and attacked the beast wave, while the 3 Zhenqi shadows blocked the other beasts with their bare hands. After killing hundreds of beasts, Yi Chen could not hold on anymore. He yelled at the group, "Everyone, get ready to fight. Don't worry. We are not here for nothing." Dozens of condensing reality realm warriors stood in front of the thousands of people. Although there were only a few of them, their aura was not weak at all. Some of the villagers who had reached Mortal Realm Stage 5 and above also walked out. They might not be able to deal with beasts above rank 2, but they could still kill rank 1 and rank 2 beasts. Roar! All of the beasts in the sky had been killed by Yi Chen, and all that was left were the low-rank beasts that could not fly. These beasts rushed towards the group of people, their roars coming one after another. A lot of the children were so scared that they started to cry. The women were shivering, holding their children tightly. Kill! 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 Under the lead of dozens of condensing reality realm warriors, including the axemen, all of the villagers who were powerful rushed up, their eyes bloodshot. Boom! 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 In the first attack, an early condensing reality realm warrior had his chest pierced by a wild boar beast's tusk. He vomited blood and died. Soon after, another 10 villagers were trampled to death by the beasts. The axeman was quite lucky. The beast that was fighting with him was a rank 2 demonic beast, Mist Cow. It was not very powerful, but it was extremely huge. Therefore, the axeman did not have to worry about being trampled by other demonic beasts. Shoo! Appearing in the middle of the beast wave, Yi Chen held his star scar sword with both of his hands, waving it in 4 different directions. Swoosh! 4 dozens of meters long sword chi sliced open the ground. Wherever it went, all of the beasts were cut in half, their blood spilling everywhere. Tyrant Millennium. Just as the sword chi passed through, Yi Chen threw a punch onto the ground. Rumble. The ground collapsed, and a huge pit with a radius of 10 meters appeared. The beasts in the front could not control their bodies and fell into the pit. The beasts behind them were too fast, so they could not stop their bodies in time. All of a sudden, at least dozens of beasts were buried in the pit. Not caring about killing the beasts that fell into the pit one by one, Yi Chen rushed towards the group of people. Some of the beasts were rushing towards them. "Mom, I am so scared." Seeing a huge rat beast rushing towards them, the kid curled up in the woman's arms. "Don't be scared. Mom is here." The woman's face was pale, but she tried to comfort the kid in her arms. The huge rat beast was a rank 3 beast. Before this, dozens of villagers had already had their heads bitten off by it, dying horribly. Now that it was rushing towards them, no one could stop it. Right at that moment, a fist landed on the head of the huge rat beast. The powerful fist power blew it away, its body shattering into pieces. Tell the others to stay together. Standing in front of the two, Yi Chen's sword was dripping with blood. Thank you so much. Many of the villagers in this area had died, and the population was sparse. The woman hurried to run towards the crowd with her kid, wiping her tears from time to time. Her man had just died right in front of her eyes. Killing without tiredness. On this day, Yi Chen had killed 2,000 to 3,000 beasts, which was more than all the times he had killed before. The killing intent on his body had made some of the low-rank beasts afraid to face him. Their movements were stiff, and even rank 3 and 4 beasts were shivering in fear. Only 15 minutes later, the battle was over. Thousands of beasts had died, and more than 200 humans had died. It was still because of Yi Chen's fast killing speed. Otherwise, no one would have been able to leave this place alive. Let's go. Hurry up. We need to reach the Yellow Mountain town before nightfall. Among the group, Yi Chen was undoubtedly the leader. With one order, everyone left the dead bodies of their family members behind and started to run. That late condensing reality realm warrior sighed, the beast wave is too horrifying. So many people have died in such a short time. Putting his star-scar sword back into its scabbard, Yi Chen said with a heavy tone, let's not talk about it for now. When the real beast wave breaks out, the number of deaths would be in the tens of thousands. All we can do is try our best to protect the villagers and get into the city. Then, we can rely on the city to fight against the beasts. Yeah, with the protection of the city, it will be much safer. The sun was setting, and the roars of the beasts could be heard everywhere. From afar, everyone could see the Yellow Mountain town standing on the ground. We have arrived at the Yellow Mountain town. Let's work harder. The man stood next to Yi Chen and said with a tired voice. Yi Chen glanced at the man and the few condensing reality realm warriors who had survived. He was very impressed. Most of the passing warriors thought that the villagers were too slow, so they did not want to stay and protect them. Only these people were willing to help them. But after a few battles, half of them had been devoured by the beasts, and the rest of them were all wounded, some even disabled. Yi Chen could not help but ask, why did you choose to stay and protect them? If you ran by yourself, you could have made it to the town or the city first. The man asked back, then why did you stay? I remember that when we came here, you were the only one protecting the villagers. I am a clasping Yuan realm warrior. Why wouldn't I help if I could? Hee, although I am not as powerful as you, I have the same idea as you. I believe they are thinking the same. The man took out a piece of cloth from his pocket and wiped his blade. Soon, they arrived at the Yellow Mountain town. Great! Another clasping Yuan realm warrior. When the gate of the town opened, a 21 or 22-year-old young man walked up to Yi Chen. Yi Chen looked at the broken tall wall and said, this place has been attacked by the beasts as well. The young man nodded, from this afternoon until now, we have been attacked by 5 demon beasts in total. The largest one had 5,000 to 6,000 demon beasts, covering the entire mountain. Many people have already rushed towards the Iron City. I am staying to protect those who have not left. I am Yi Chen, and you are Tian Hao. The Yellow Mountain town will not be able to hold on for long. But it is already late, we have to stay here for another night. Let's fight together. Being able to see a clasping Yuan realm warrior, Yi Chen was very happy as well. During the beast wave, only condensing reality realm warriors and above would be able to kill the beasts in a large area. One more person would mean one more layer of protection. Tian Hao laughed and said, I am not the only clasping Yuan realm warrior in the Yellow Mountain town. The other clasping Yuan realm warriors are guarding the other 3 town gates. Including you, there are 7 of them in total, and 3 of them are mid-clasping Yuan realm warriors. I think it should not be a problem to guard for one night, since it has only been half a day, the real beast wave has not started yet. Yeah, 7 people should be enough. Yi Chen let out a breath in relief. Having 7 clasping Yuan realm warriors in one town was definitely a blessing in disguise. The town was not that big, but because a lot of people had left before, the 3 villages did not feel crowded at all. Of course, there were also people from other villages nearby who had arrived. However, they were not as lucky as the Huaiyang village and the Liyang village. Because there were no clasping Yuan realm warriors to protect them, they had lost a lot of people. Less than 100 people had made it to the Yellow Mountain town. Inside all the restaurants. Everyone, eat as much as you can. The owner of the restaurant has already escaped to the Iron City. All the food is free. In all the weapon shops. Everyone has a weapon. Don't take more, but don't take less. Tonight, we will be relying on them to kill the beasts. Facing the beast wave, everyone had to work together. This was something that would never happen in a peaceful time. On the street. Looking at the crowd and warriors coming and going, Tianhao said, I will take you to meet the other clasping Yuan realm warriors. Tonight, we will be partners. Yi Qin nodded. It was a pleasant meeting. Everyone was very confident about the addition of a clasping Yuan realm warrior. They knew very well that a clasping Yuan realm warrior could fight against dozens of condensing reality realm warriors. No matter in terms of attacking power or attacking range, it would not be on the same level. The night had shrouded the land. The atmosphere in the Yellow Mountain town had become very serious, including that of Yi Chen and the others. Roar! 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 A beast roar was heard. It was not far from the Yellow Mountain town. No one knew how long it had been, but the rumbling sound could be heard everywhere. With the help of the moonlight, people with weapons could see a huge group of beasts in the distance. The ones running at the front were rank 1 and 2 beasts, followed by rank 3 and rank 4 beasts, and at the back were rank 5 and a few rank 6 beasts. These beasts were not rushing to attack the Yellow Mountain town. Instead, they were moving forward step by step. In front of the crowd, Tianhao said with relief, there is only one rank 6 beast here. Judging from the beast chi vibration, it should be equivalent to a peak-level mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior. You and I will work together and kill it first. Yi Qin said, no need to be so troublesome. You help the others. I will handle the rank 5 beasts and rank 6 beasts. You alone. Tianhao looked confused. Yi Qin did not answer with words. He waved his hand and the star-scar sword appeared in his hand. He took it out of the scabbard and threw a sword attack in front of him. Swoosh! The flat ground cracked open. The beasts at the front all fell down. The sword chi wave exploded in the group of beasts, killing another 7 rank 3 and 4 beasts. Such a powerful sword chi. Tianhao was shocked. Just like Yi Qin, he was also a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm warrior. Although he did not make it into the top 72 in the last Hidden Dragon rank competitions, he thought that he would definitely be able to make it this time. He thought that Yi Qin would not be as powerful as him, but he did not expect that Yi Qin would be even more powerful than him. Roar! Seeing Yi Qin's arrogance, the rank 6 demonic beast roared in anger. As its demonic chi swept out, it quickly appeared in front of the group of demonic beasts. It opened its mouth and breathed out a huge fire wave, which rushed towards Yi Qin. Cut! From hundreds of meters away, Yi Qin threw out a sword attack. The blue sword chi sliced through the air like a shooting star. It not only cut open the flame wave, but also landed on the rank 6 beast's body. Soon, this rank 6 beast's body was cut in half before it could even show its power. A huge amount of blood splashed onto the ground. Impressive. I thought it would be a tough fight, but it seems like I don't have to. Tianhao was shocked at first, then he was overjoyed. With Yi Chen's help, rank 6 beasts were no longer a threat to him. He only needed to kill beasts that were below rank 5. Before the beast group even got close, all the clasping Yuan realm warriors had already started their attacks. The rest of the warriors were ready to fight against the beasts at any second. Swirling winds and clouds, overlapping mountain ridges. Yi Chen had performed all of his wide-range sword attacks. Sword chi shot out in all directions, and huge groups of beasts fell onto the ground. Night battle. Tian Hao's power was not to be underestimated either. A pitch-black long blade appeared in his hand. As he waved the long blade, dozens of blade chi spread out with him as the center. Swoosh! 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 With only the power of the two of them, most of the beasts could not even get close. Once they got within 300 meters, they would be killed by countless sword chi and blade chi. Even the rank 3 and 4 beasts could not survive. Only the rank 5 beasts could break through the sword chi and blade chi and escape. What welcomed them was a fist. The powerful fist had attracted hundreds of meters of yuan chi, and then it was thrown out. Boom! 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 3 to 4 rank 5 beasts exploded in the air. So powerful. We could not do anything. At least hundreds of beasts had died in their hands. The beasts behind them had just arrived, but they were all killed immediately. Even the rank 5 beasts were no exception. It is dangerous over there. Why don't we go and help them? All of the warriors in the back started to discuss. Yi Chen heard everyone's discussion and said loudly, "You guys send half of your people to other places. We will be enough here." Tian Hao said, "Brother Yi is right." Hearing him, half of the 100 people left, and only about 50 people were left. There were not many beasts in the first wave. There were only 2,000 to 3,000 beasts on Yi Chen and Tian Hao's side. After such a short while, half of them had already been killed by the two of them. Another rank 6 beast is coming. Is it an eagle tiger beast? Tian Hao was shocked. Pap! Just as Tian Hao finished talking, that eagle tiger beast had been cut into pieces by an extremely fast sword chi. It was as horrifying as thunder. Tian Hao was speechless. This was way too horrifying. A rank 6 beast could not even take one sword chi attack from him. This eagle tiger beast was equivalent to a normal late clasping Yuan realm warrior. Putting a pellet into his mouth, Yi Chen looked very calm. This eagle tiger beast was different from normal rank 6 beasts. If he wanted to kill it with one sword attack, he would have to use his ultimate move, the last movement of the Sky Cloud sword art, Supreme Sky Cloud. As for the one sword attack, he would try not to use it unless necessary, as it would consume a lot of his energy. As the battle went on, Tian Hao's Jin Qi was being consumed very quickly. However, he had quite a lot of pellets with him, some of which could instantly replenish 20 to 30% of his Jin Qi. He said, "Brother Yi, if you don't have enough pellets, I have some here. I am from the alchemist martial school, and I have a lot of them." Yi Chen said, "No need, I have a lot of pellets as well." Besides the calabash of Jinqi replenishing pellets, he also had hundreds of normal Jinqi replenishing pellets, which he had spent hundreds of thousands of gold to buy. After all, normal Jinqi replenishing pellets were more than enough for normal use, there was no need to waste Jinqi replenishing pellets. When all the beasts in this direction had been killed, the battles in the other directions had not finished yet. Yi Chen said, "I will go help the others first. Are you okay by yourself?" "Sure, you go ahead. I don't think it's safe over there. Rank 6 beasts are still quite powerful for us." Tian Hao sat on the ground with his legs crossed and started meditating. Hearing Yi Chen, he nodded. Swoosh! Extending his body, Yi Chen soon arrived at the south gate of the Yellow Mountain town. Without saying anything, Yi Chen threw out a sword attack and hit the rank 6 beast that was fighting with the clasping Yuan realm warrior. This rank 6 beast let out a cry and fell on the ground. Chapter 200. The one guarding the south gate was a mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Before Yuchen arrived, he was the most powerful warrior in the Yellow Mountain town. However, his opponent was a rank 6 beast, the four-legged flamingo, which was as powerful as a late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Even after using all of his ace attacks, he still could not do anything to it. Instead, his arm had been scratched. Seeing Yuchen kill the four-legged flamingo with only one sword attack, he opened his eyes wide in shock. "I will leave the rest of the beasts to you. I will go check out the other two sides." Flashing his body, Yuchen flew across the sky of the Yellow Mountain town and arrived at the east gate. The situation here was not good. There were two rank 6 beasts, and there were only two clasping Yuan realm warriors. One was a mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior, and the other was an early clasping Yuan realm warrior. The early clasping Yuan realm warrior was about to be killed by the claw of the rank 6 beast. Performing his separating shadow flying art, Yuchen's body became blurry. When he reappeared, he was already in between the beast and the human, throwing out a thunderous sword attack. Pap! The lightning-like blue sword light broke through the beast's protective beast chi and landed heavily on its chest. Then, the sword light shone brightly, exploding violently. Blood splashed everywhere. This aggressive rank 6 beast had been blown away by the sword light. There was a huge sword hole in its chest, which was quite chilling. "You go and heal yourself first," Yuchen said to the middle-aged man, who was quite badly wounded. "All right, thank you." The middle-aged man was just as shocked as the first one. However, it was obviously not the time for him to be shocked. He obediently stepped back, swallowed a pellet, and sat on the ground with his legs crossed to heal himself. He was trying to recover most of his fighting power before the next wave of beasts appeared. "Oh! Little bro, you are quite powerful." The one who was fighting with the rank 6 beast was a beautiful lady in her 30s. She was holding a crescent blade in her hand, and seemed to be on par with the beast. From time to time, she would use her ace attacks to leave bloody marks on the beast's body. Yuchen said, "The next wave of beasts could come at any time. You don't mind if I help you, right?" Clasping Yuan realm warriors were very confident in their own power. If they went up there recklessly, they might annoy the lady, since she had already suppressed the rank 6 beast. "Sure. I couldn't ask for more." The beautiful woman smiled sweetly and didn't mind. Bang! The ground exploded as Yuchen violently dashed towards the beautiful woman's opponent, the level 6 two-headed wolf king. Howl! One of the two-headed wolf king's heads spat out a ring of light at Yuchen. The power of the light wave was unparalleled. Wherever it went, the ground would explode layer by layer, and the sky would be filled with rubble. Break! On the way, Yuchen slashed horizontally with his sword. The light wave split in the middle, and the thick blue sword chi instantly hit the double-headed wolf king's body, protecting demonic chi. This two-headed wolf king is not simple. The blue sword chi had been blocked by the protective beast chi, and could not break through. At this moment, Yuchen finally realized how powerful that beautiful lady was. She seemed to be even more powerful than those mid-clasping Yuan realm warriors outside the south gate. Before, she had suppressed the double-headed wolf king all by herself. The beautiful lady reminded Yuchen, "This is not a normal double-headed wolf king, it is a mutated one. Its beast chi is very dense, and even my arc light blade could not break through its protective beast chi. You will have to use your ace attack." It's broken." In the beautiful lady's eyes, the blue sword chi did not disappear just like that. Instead, it turned into layers of sword chi that continuously landed on the double-headed wolf king's protective Jin chi. Within 2 blinks of an eye, one of the double-headed wolf king's heads had been cut off by the sword chi. Blood spurted out for dozens of meters. Arc light cut. As soon as the double-headed wolf king's protective Zhenqi was broken, the beautiful lady reacted quickly and threw out 3 blade attacks in a row, killing the double-headed wolf king for good. Interesting. Are you interested in joining our moon pavilion? Don't worry, we are not a martial institution, we are just an organization. You don't have to leave your martial institution if you join us. The beautiful lady would not be stupid enough to ask Yi Chen to leave his martial institution. With his age, Yi Chen must be the most talented one in the martial institution. Yi Chen said, "Not yet." "Hee, you will be interested in it in the future." The beautiful lady laughed. The expression on her face was obviously one of excitement. After that, Yi Chen went to the north gate of the Yellow Mountain town to help. In fact, he did not need to go there, since there was not even a single rank 6 beast there. After the first wave of beasts had been killed, no one dared to sleep. They sat outside the town to rest and chat, drinking wine. As for cleaning up the dead bodies, they could not do it even if they wanted to. Under the beast wave, there would be no whole bodies left. All they could see was the ground covered with minced meat and blood. In the middle of the night, the second wave of beasts had arrived. The attack this time was even more intense than the previous wave. There were dozens of rank 6 beasts, and there were 3 to 4 of them in almost every direction. There were hundreds of rank 5 beasts, and the number of low-rank beasts was even more horrifying. There were tens of thousands of them, and they were everywhere. After 2 hours, the second wave of beasts had finally been killed. The number of warriors in the Yellow Mountain town had been reduced from the original 700 to 300. More than half of them had died under the claws of the beasts. The normal people in the town were not spared either. Half of the thousands of people had died, and the survivors were either hiding in the cellars or being saved by Yi Chen and the others. Besides that, there were finally some clasping Yuan realm warriors who had been killed. An early clasping Yuan realm warrior had been killed, and 3 others had been wounded. One of them had lost an arm. One more wave, and we will not be able to hold on anymore. Tian Hao was covered in blood as he said sadly. Yi Chen's clothes were torn, but he was not wounded. He said, "The sun is coming out soon. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get everyone to the Iron City. That's the only way." After a quarter of an hour, more than 1,000 people left the broken Yellow Mountain town, walking towards the sun in the east. All of their faces were pale. Obviously, the beast attack last night had made them very tired and desperate. The good thing was that there was still hope in their eyes. Behind the crowd, Tian Hao had changed into a clean set of clothes, and said with a bitter smile, "I have killed more beasts tonight than I have in the past few years." How could there be so many beasts? The beautiful lady said, "The beasts are very territorial, but there are at least hundreds of thousands of beasts in a 1,000 miles radius mountain range. We had only been attacked in a small area." "You are right. We can only hope that there will not be any rank 7 beasts in the beast wave." Yi Chen looked very serious. If it were top rank 6 beasts like the Wind Wolf, they would still be able to fight them with the number of people. But once there were rank 7 beasts, the human wave attack would basically be useless. Relying on the city would be useless as well. Only astral reaching realm warriors of the same level would be able to make it. Tian Hao looked into the distance. There are still 200 miles to the Iron City. We have to speed up. At the same time, in different directions, countless people were gathering towards the area where the Iron City was located. Iron City, inside the mayor's mansion. "Mayor, right now, the Iron City is already overcrowded. In the next few days, there will be even more people gathering here. This will be a huge burden." An elder in luxurious clothes reported to the middle-aged man on the main seat. The middle-aged mayor said, "Normal people stay on the ground, and let all the warriors go up to the roof. That way, there will be more space. Right now, it is not about the number of people, but what if there are not enough people? We should all gather in the Iron City. The elder said with admiration, "Mayor, you are so wise. I asked you to find out how many clasping Yuan realm warriors there are in the Iron City. Have you found anything yet?" The mayor asked. "I have. Although the Iron City is a small city, there are more than 240 clasping Yuan realm warriors, and it is still increasing. Among them, there are many clasping Yuan realm warriors from the big martial institutions. Yeah, the beast wave is indeed dangerous, but it can train the warriors' battling experience. The leaders of the big martial institutions should have plans for this." "Oh right, are there any astral reaching realm warriors coming?" "Not yet." The mayor frowned and mumbled to himself, "This is not easy. Right now, we are not sure if it will be a small beast wave or a mid-sized one. If there are rank 7 beasts, the Iron City would not be able to hold on. I hope it will not happen. I don't think it will be possible. Normally, rank 7 beasts would only be found in mid-sized mountains or forests. Within 10,000 miles of our Iron City, there are no mid-sized mountains or forests. The biggest mountain in the wasteland is only a small one, only a few thousand miles in radius. I hope so." After one day and one night of traveling, everyone was exhausted. A lot of normal people who were already injured had died on the way, and even more had died under the attacks of the beasts. The number of people has decreased again. I wonder how many will make it to the Iron City. Looking at the crowd, Yi-Chin sighed. Right now, there were less than 1,000 people left, which was almost the same as the population of 3 villages. He then looked at the axeman who was not far away and smiled. He thought that he was quite lucky. He did not die in such a harsh battle, and even managed to break through from the peak of Mortal Realm Stage 8 to Stage 9. After this beast wave, there was hope for him to reach the condensing reality realm. Tian Hao looked at Yi-Chen with admiration. "You have killed 5,000 to 6,000 beasts by yourself, and I have only killed less than 1/3 of you." Every time the beasts attacked, Yi-Chen would fight his way into the group of beasts by himself and kill the rank 6 beasts that were threatening. And every time, he would be able to escape unscathed, which made Tian Hao and the rest admire him. In their minds, there were people who were as powerful as Yi-Chen, or even more powerful than him, but none of them could do it as easily as he did. "Young man, if you join our moon pavilion, we will guarantee you more resources to increase your cultivation." The beautiful lady did not forget to recruit Yi-Chen at all. Yi-Chen smiled bitterly, "I'm not interested for now." "Then think about it. You won't lose anything anyway. If you think the moon pavilion is not good, you can leave any time." The beautiful lady was very confident in the moon pavilion. She believed that after Yi-Chen joined, he would not want to leave. The problem was that he had not joined yet. Another half a day passed. A city with a circumference of 10 miles appeared in their sight. "We've arrived at the Iron City. We've finally arrived. Let's go in quickly. We'll be safe inside." The people who survived cherished their lives very much. All of them ran as if they had been injected with chicken blood, unlike before when they were on the verge of death. The beautiful lady flew into the air and shouted, "Open the city gate." Before the beautiful lady shouted a second time, the huge city gate opened. Groups of soldiers lined up on both sides. The leader said, "Everyone, come in. Don't waste any time." After entering the Iron City, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Some of them had reached their limit and fainted. So many people. Looking at the overcrowded Iron City, Yi-Chen was shocked. Tian Hao said, "It seems like everyone has gathered here. Next, we will have to fight against the beasts. I hope we can hold on. If there are no rank 7 beasts, it should not be a problem." An unknown clasping Yuan realm warrior nearby said. "Roar." The second Yi-Chen and the group entered the city, countless beasts were running in the direction of the Yellow Mountain town. It was dark and horrifying. Within the beast wave, there were countless rank 5 beasts and hundreds of rank 6 beasts. What was even more horrifying was that behind the beasts, there was a huge shadow moving towards them. Wherever it went, the hills would collapse and the ground would start to rumble, as if there was a small earthquake. It was 1,000 meters long python with 2 long horns on its head. Its whole body was covered in greenish-yellow scales that were the size of basins. With a casual sweep of its tail, the ground would crack open, and rocks would fly everywhere. From its mouth, a stinky smell would come out, forming countless dark cloud-like air currents that covered its entire body. Boom! The 2-horned python flew past the yellow mountain town. The whole town had been completely destroyed and turned into a flat ground within a second. It was impossible to tell that this town used to exist. Roar! 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 The beast's roar was earth-shattering as it jumped towards the Iron City. What? There are rank 7 beasts here. A late-clasping Yuan realm warrior saw the 2-horned python from afar and was shocked. He hurried to perform his flying art and fly towards the Iron City. Swoosh! The 2-horned python stared at him without blinking. It opened its mouth and an endless amount of beast chi gathered at its throat. Then, a pitch-black light column shot out. 10 miles of distance was covered within a blink of an eye. This late-clasping Yuan realm warrior did not even make a sound before his body was burned into ashes. As if it was not satisfied yet, this 2-horned python shot out a few more pitch-black light columns, which pierced through the mountains nearby. Rocks started to fall from the top, and a loud rumbling sound was heard. The beast's speed was extremely fast, even faster than the crowd's traveling speed. Within half a day, they had already reached 10 miles away from the Iron City. The 2-horned python straightened its upper body, which was almost as tall as a mountain. It opened its mouth again and shot out another pitch-black light column, shooting towards the Iron City's city wall that was 10 miles away. The city wall was shattered like tofu. Countless people had died under this black light column, including 3 clasping Yuan realm warriors. Some of the warriors recognized the 2-horned python and said in shock, "It is a rank 7 beast." Rank 7 beast, horned dragon python. How is this possible? How could there be a horned dragon python within 10,000 miles? How could we block the attack of a rank 7 beast? Let's just run. A lot of clasping Yuan realm warriors had pale faces as they started to think about running away. On the other side of the city wall, Yi Chen's heart sank. He had never thought that a rank 7 beast would appear out of nowhere, and this early. Even all of the clasping Yuan realm warriors in the city combined might not be able to kill a rank 7 beast. After all, martial geniuses like Xianhou were not easy to find. Plus, this rank 7 beast's power was still unknown. It might be as powerful as a mid-astral reaching realm warrior. Even a martial genius like Xianhou would not be able to fight against it. I wonder if I can beat a rank 7 beast after I reach the late clasping Yuan realm. According to Thunder Freer, it seems to be very hard. Even with the completed sword intent, I would only be able to run away, and would not be able to fight against it. Yu Qin had never seen a rank 7 beast before, nor had he seen an astral reaching realm warrior fight against one another. So, he could not tell how powerful a rank 7 beast or an astral reaching realm warrior would be. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.